Rich, are you there?
I am, Adam. How are you, sir?
Good to speak to you. Always. It's funny. I just I'm soothed just to hear the name Rich Eisen. I really do. It's like
it's like a bomb. It's like a bomb. Is that what you're saying?
Bomb with an L.
Salve?
Yeah, salve. Yeah. It's like
with an L. Both with L's. They both have L's.
Yeah, like instead of Nom Yoho Renge Kyon, and just be Rich Eisen.
Mm-hmm.
Feel better already.
Understood.
The Rich Eisen show, by the way. Did you watch Hard Knocks last night?
Let me tell you, man, that's a hell of a show. Those NFL Films people are just the bomb. They're the best. I mean, it's unbelievable what they get and how comfortable people are around them. And are you excited for the return of your Rams to Los Angeles?
Yeah, I am. It's so weird. I mean, I'm really excited, honestly, because my son is into it. For me, they left, 21 years ago or something like that? What the hell's it been? But
94.
They left during my sort of formative football years, and now they're back, and the game has passed me by a little bit, but my son is going to be into it, and I'll relive it through the eyes of babes. But the show looks amazing, but kind of my thing with Hard Knocks is it looks too good. Like, I think they're getting a little too caught up in the cinematography. I want to see guys crashing into each other, not beautiful vistas.
You want to see you don't want to see sprinkler heads turning on? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's the shot that did it, because they got enamored with two shots: the sprinkler head, and then the sprinkler head and the dragonfly in slow motion taken off after the sprinkler fired up. And I'm like, the first 20 minutes of it was just nothing but sweeping vistas of the Santa Monica Bay. I want to see the dude in the jockstrap. I want to see the guy. And where's the Turk? I don't want to see.
Oh, the Turk came for a guy who brought a woman to the dorm.
Yeah, but that was Fisher. That was Fisher. I know, but I want the Turk.
I just thought you were going to see an actual guy named Turk.
Well, no. What I'm saying is I want the executioner. I want the hangman. I don't want the mayor of the city to pull the lever. You know what I'm saying? He's the mayor. Okay. Get the Turk. Okay. If I were Fisher, before I canned my quarterback, I would have said, how's it going? How are the kids? How's Shelly? Good. How's the vacation? Been traveling? Hold on. Somebody wants to talk to you. And then handed the phone to the Turk, and he'd be like, you're canned. And then he'd hand it back and go, how's the vacation? How's the kids going? Anything? Yeah.
I think he did, but I thought he did that with Foles, too, when he got Foles on the phone, like, what's going on? Okay, hey, we're releasing you later today. Okay, that's great. Hope all's well. Bye. I mean, but that is the sort of stuff that's the way things go, behind the scenes. And stuff like Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, caught on microphone talking about how their quarterback's never been under center before and doesn't call plays in a huddle, and is kind of lamenting that as his defense is ready to roll in the NFL. And I think he's concerned that the other side of the ball might not be able to hold its own. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that I think fans dig about the Hard Knocks.
I was thinking, I wonder, I'm hearkening back to Fisher and how casually he cuts people. His wife's got to worry every time he calls, right? Like, hey, sweetie, just checking up. You coming back from Color Me Mine? Good. I want you to swing by the store and pick up some eggs. Oh, we're getting divorced. Anyway, how's Timmy doing? Every time the phone rings, she's got to just stare at it and go, everybody in that camp, every time Fisher calls, has to just stare at it and break into a cold sweat, right?
Yes, exactly. And it would be it might be the first time Color Me Mine would ever be part of an NFL related show. A pottery painting locale. I love it. That is you know what, man? That would be a new Hard Knocks.
The Color Me Mine Hard Knocks?
The Color Me Mine Hard. Now, would the Turk be dressed in a certain way, though?
Well,
Adam?
I like I like the sort of Roman, sort of gladiator kind of tunic, kind of studded, leather, sleeveless, obviously. Yeah, that's obviously, I'm an old school guy, so I like that look. But just so we're clear, the Turk does the firing, and I need him to at least escort the guy into the gallows. I don't want the coach picking up the blower doing it himself.
But they would provide a box for their belongings, though. Correct? I mean, at least before that happens,
I do
you have to at least.
Yeah, I do. Gather your things. Bring your playbook. So, Rich, what do you think? Like, which way is the wind blowing out here in terms of the Rams, their acceptance, the fans, the enthusiasm level? Like, where are we at if you were to give it a 1 to 10 number?
Oh, I would put it in the 8 to 9 range right now, for sure. I mean, the attendance at training camp down in Irvine is really good, and then the people talking that I know that are going to these both preseason games, they're fired up for that. And then week 2, when Pete Carroll, of all people, comes back to the Coliseum to bring Seattle in against the Rams, who the last several years in St. Louis played Seattle perhaps better than anybody in the division year in, year out. That is a certain level of excitement that I am sensing. For sure. And, the question is how good is the team going to do to keep that enthusiasm going deep into week 8, 9, 10? What's going to happen then? I think a lot of eyes are peeled thinking that Southern Californians will bolt or not be into a team that might be 3-5 or 4-4. And I know Fisher said last night in what's, I guess, the most talked about soliloquy from Hard Knocks, he's not going 7-9 or 8-8. But, that wouldn't be actually very bad for a team that hasn't,
well, to be fair to
going through a lot, though. I mean,
to be fair to Fisher, he ran through every numerical possible combination of a 16-game series. We're not going 1-15. We're not going a half and 15 and a half. We're not going to go. I mean, he literally went through every permutation of that.
He did run the gamut from 7-9 all the way to 10-6.
Right,
he did do.
But I did notice him stopping abruptly at 10-6. So, yes,
you have to also figure that a lot of these people are still moving. Or they're still trying to figure out what their surroundings are. This is a major logistical situation for the Rams as well as trying to play football. Just trying to get used to every new surrounding. And then get ready for a season with a guy who, as you saw last night, is quite green at quarterback. And so when you hear that Case Keenum is a real shot to start week 1 on Monday night, the last game of week 1 in San Francisco, and maybe even the home opener against Seattle, you have to believe it.
So he never took snaps under center because they ran out of shotgun his entire
That's what you find for most of these
career?
College kids. Yeah, and that was one of the knocks on both Winston and Mariota 2 years ago is, are they really worth it? Because Mariota in Oregon has rarely, if ever, turned his back to the defense in a play action situation. A lot of these guys, it's a very large, hill to climb to get ready for the season. But then Mariota came out and threw 4 touchdowns and didn't even have to finish his first game as a pro. And all of a sudden that went out the window. So you don't know. I mean, Goff might be able to hit the ground running, but I don't know if he's going to get the chance at this point.
Well, let me make this analogy. Rich Eisen, host of the Rich Eisen Show on DirecTV. It is interesting because you talk about quarterbacks, getting sacked, and then you talk about back sack. And what I'm talking about is getting used to getting underneath another man's body and tucking your hands tightly up in there.
That
yes.
Last night, did you like the knuckle discussion?
I did enjoy the dropping the digit on the center with all the tank tops. But it's sort of like poi. Like if you don't grow up with it, it's weird when you're 22. You know what I mean? It's got to be part of your diet, from Pee Wee football on. You can't just take a guy who's 23 and go, hey, this is called Vegemite. You might enjoy it. Like, no, it's got to be part of, you have to eat it as an infant in order, or you're going to gag. I just feel like that's not something he was into, and it's hard to make that transition, but we shall see how it goes.
Yes, we shall see. Yes.
Rich,
Week 1.
One last question. Tebow, What do we think about his chances of making it?
I love it. I think for sure a Major League Baseball team's going to take a shot on him. I think they're for sure going to stick him in their minor league system and see how it works. For the very least, that minor league affiliates really, it'll be perfect for him. It would be if he wants to ride the bus. He's going to want to do that. But people like Deion Sanders have done it, and Michael Jordan's done it. And I think Tebow's going to really understand that that's what it's all about, and I think he will bring that work ethic and give it a whirl. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to happen.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this and speaking about it on my program as well, which is baseball. There's a lot of work ethic, and there's that in every sport. But, I mean, let's face it, in basketball and in football as well, if you don't have those sort of God-given whatever, it's going to be tough to overcome it with hard work. I mean, we're not living in the Rocky Blyer era. But in baseball, if you have the tools, but you also work twice as hard as everyone else, spend all the time in the cage and so on and so forth, all the BP, and his work ethic and his sobriety and not getting laid and all the other distractions of life, I give him a pretty good chance, right?
I mean, he hasn't played in 10 years. It's I think it's an incredibly difficult learning curve. He may not make the majors, but in the minors, riding the bus and giving it a try, and then maybe somebody calls him up in September, if not this year, next year. Obviously, this year's a very long shot. Why not? I mean, why wouldn't a Major League Baseball team give it a shot? Russell Wilson's been drafted by 2 different teams. Manziel got drafted by the Padres. I mean, there's many football players that have been drafted by baseball teams just on a lark. So Why not Tim Tebow?
Russell's going to be on your program today?
No, Bob Greasy will be on the show, and Ron Rivera, the coach of the Panthers.
Bob could still strap it up and play today. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He can give me a couple snaps.
Yeah.
He can give me a couple snaps.
The Rich Eisen show on DirecTV's audience. What can I say? I love myself some Rich Eisen. Thanks so much for phoning in, Rich. I appreciate it.
Always, Ace, man. You take care.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.